The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101 with 9 Inch Nails. And tonight, Kenzie heading into the hospital to deliver a baby. Let's go.
I'm so nervous.
So just to keep you up to date here as Brian and Kenzie continue the show, that the due date was Monday.
Yes.
And just didn't happen. And didn't happen yesterday, so here we are.
Already not listening, which is awesome.
You're what now? Oh, the baby's not listening?
Yep.
Oh, man.
Not paying attention already.
So tonight, just like my wife, when you follow the show for all these years, hopefully, that Megan did the same thing. Had to go and get induced, so you go in overnight. I'm sure all the women listening can go, yes, we know all this. This is what we did, and the dads know that too. When you go in overnight, and then hopefully by the morning with all the stuff they give you and the medicine and the procedures, that it's all ready to come out induced. And in the morning, a nice, easy delivery. That's
what I'm hoping for, baby.
We're all praying for that. We're all praying for a very quick delivery, and then you can just enjoy that baby.
I know. I'm very, very excited. And a lot of people have been asking, like, what's the dealio? So you guys are obviously still going to be on air.
Correct.
You don't get a maternity leave just because I do.
Which is that's bogus, by the way.
Yeah, Brian was like packing for his 8 weeks, and he was like, wait a minute.
I was packing up my jammies. I'm staying at Kenzie's house in Elgin. Help her out with the baby for a couple months.
We're going to do a big slumber party?
Yeah, I thought it'd be great.
We should do that. We should do a slumber party at Kenzie's house.
Why should we do that?
Oh my God, that sounds like so much fun.
No.
No.
So many bathrooms.
I know, so many furnaces. I'd be so warm.
Oh my God.
Just got two of them.
So tonight you go in and do it, and off the baby.
Go in and do it.
The baby's gonna come out, and it's gonna be great.
The earlier in the 6 in the morning, Brian comes on and says I'm not gonna be on air because of my maternity situation.
That's right. So awkward around talking about it. So weird.
You're horrible at it.
And you have a kid. Why are you bad at it, Brian?
I have a beautiful 15-month-old daughter, but around that time, I remember I would say things like, it's going to come home. The baby.
It's gonna be here.
I don't know why it's just so weird.
Oh, my God.
So
I can't. So
her maternity situation tonight.
Yeah, he made it sound like I got diagnosed with something. I couldn't come in anymore. He's like, oh, this is tough, man.
Oh, man.
So I'm going in tonight. So my quote unquote maternity leave starts tomorrow, but I'm also going to be doing a lot of check-ins and like certain bits and stuff like that throughout. So it's not like I'm going to just be gone the whole time. We set up a really cool at-home studio.
Yeah, we're starting
when I'm on maternity leave.
We're starting a radiothon tomorrow, a 28-hour radiothon.
No, we're not.
Kenzie's going to be checking in from home. We're doing it for charity.
It's like Save Our Stages, but it's just Kenzie's delivery.
Oh, God, I need a break.
Thank God you got that home set up done perfectly. So there you go.
Yes. Yeah. So we're excited. It's such a weird thing though when you have the scheduled appointment to go to the hospital, right? And I know, Brian, you can relate to this because what Megan did, and it just kind of makes for a weird day. Like you're like, well, I'm kind of busy tonight, I guess, and it's a weird feeling. And I'm like, okay, I'm gonna shower tonight, and I'll blow dry my hair. I told my husband this, and then I'll I want to be clean because I would rather not have to wash my hair and let it dry, do all that at the hospital, right? So I'm like, okay, if I wash it, blow it dry, it'll be good for a day or two. That'll look nice. And because I feel pressure, I think this is weird. It's this new trend where I feel like girls try to look cute at the hospital when they're giving birth. It's like a social media thing. And I didn't know that. I was not intending on doing that. And then I've seen this social media and I'm like, well, great. I don't want my husband checking out the other pregnant bitches who look good. And so I gotta dress up for this? I didn't think that was gonna happen, but now I'm all insecure about it.
You didn't think the hospital was gonna turn into speed dating?
I had no idea.
Going room to room there with all the moms.
Yeah.
Are you showing up in a dress and heels, or what's your plan?
No, I'm at a normal clothes because I would dress cuter if I was getting induced in the morning, if that makes sense.
It
but
doesn't.
I'm going because I'm going at bedtime. I don't know. It's so weird in my head. I don't know.
You don't want to look like you were at the club right before you came to get induced.
Right. Because I have seen people wear adorable outfits, and I'm like, well, you're starting your day, so you're over here thinking, well, I'm going in at 7 a.m. and I'll have the baby around 4. So it's your day, but I'm going in overnight.
Yeah.
It's weird.
It's how they, like I said, Megan did exactly the same thing, and it just felt like we were going to a dentist appointment for a minute. And then we go, wait a minute, there's going to be a baby tomorrow, or hopefully tomorrow, and it's wild how to do it like that. And a lot of our listeners are checking in. Katie said, same thing. She went in actually at 6 a.m. in the morning to be induced, like you're talking about the other way to do it, but she had him less than 6 hours later. It was amazing.
God, please, give me the Katie special. That's what I'm looking for.
Megan,
But it was funny. Brian, did you download stuff to watch? Because everyone's told us to do that.
I did.
You did?
And so I downloaded, first off, I'm still trying to catch up on Stranger Things. So I had Stranger Things on the phone. I always put in a little bit of Entourage, Sopranos, stuff I know I'm going to like easy. I don't have to think too much about it because I've already seen it 10 times.
Yeah.
And then a couple movies that I wanted to see. I'm trying to think of the time frame it was.
Did you watch anything?
No.
Okay.
I thought
You
I'd sit
didn't.
there. I was looking to settle in, put a pillow down, lay down, and
Nestle
go,
in.
I can watch everything I've been behind on. In the meantime, Megan's delivering a baby and they're coming in every 15 minutes to check on her. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't watch one thing. Of
That
all the
sucks
stuff
for
I did.
you.
It did suck.
We were
Yeah, it
downloading
was-
stuff yesterday.
Oh, yeah?
Like we finally were like, okay, what are we gonna download? What are we gonna download?
Yeah.
And my husband chose The Three Amigos, which is a classic.
No,
I have
rocks.
to say.
That's his movie, I assume. That's the one he's already seen a billion times, so we can just enjoy
Yeah, one
that.
of them. He also then downloaded Step Brothers,
Hell yes.
All right, I like it.
and then he wanted to download, and I said, I'm not gonna watch that. Is the World Series game, like
Oh,
the
Game
Cubs
7?
when they won? Yes.
Oh,
Game
wow.
7. And I go, I'm not, like, I don't need you getting hyper and, like, jumping up and yelling. Because he still does that when he watches replays.
Yeah.
Even though he knows what happens. And I'm like, I don't need you in the room getting, like, tense or angry when somebody misses something. Like, you're not watching replays of sports games because your energy is going to really throw me off.
He relives the anger?
Yes, he'll get mad when he watch like
That's kinda weird.
Oh, I can't believe Chapman blew it again.
No, Marquis will pull up like I forgot what they call them, but they call them like Cubs Classics or
Yes.
something like that, where they pull up the games, and he will get angry and like he knows the outcome. Like I'm like, like we win by a lot on this one, like old games, all of them, and he gets upset or he sits there and is like, well, let me watch this at bat. And I'm like, well, you've seen this. You were at the game. I see you. You were there. You're in the stands.
This is Sammy Sosa, where he's catching McGuire here.
I'm like, oh my God. But he gets all worked up all over again. And I'm like, I can't have you freaking out over games and being all. And then he's also brought up how bad he wants Cody Bellinger to sign today.
Oh, God.
Because if it happens tomorrow, he's not going to be able to read the articles.
He'll have time to read an article. Justin, you're listening. I'm telling you that you can read the article. Trust me.
That
You'll have
baby's
time.
gonna sleep at some point.
Yeah.
I don't know, fire up the Athletic and get to read them.
Right.
Okay.
Also, I could just imagine watching Game 7 of the Cubs, and you go into full labor. Okay, Roman, we need you over here. And he's like, wait a minute, the rain delay part's here. Oh, this is the best part because the rain delay is where the game turns, you see. They gave a speech in the weight room, and he went in there, and Jason Hayward gave the speech, and that's where they come out, and then they win the game. This is
He
the
would
best part.
literally have like a nail biter. Watching Game 7, he'd be in there stressing out as if history could like not repeat itself and completely change it during the replay of this. I go, we're not watching it.
Oh, my God, that's hilarious. Also, Rockabilly Tim checked in and said that, yeah, Brian downloaded all his shows. Megan downloaded all of her own shows to watch, too.
That's good you didn't do it for her. She was
Well,
not like she had a lot to do.
she figured
you
it
know.
out. She figured it out.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
It's Brian and Kenzie on Q101, and we're talking about things that happened 20 years ago that were impactful, that were huge, because 2004 just seems to be one of those years that were pretty epic. And we're not exactly on the date on this one, but it was Super Bowl week when this happened 20 years ago. See if you remember this moment with the audio. Okay, right there. It's there's a little like flap. You heard it's very tiny. That was Justin Timberlake with Janet Jackson on stage, and that's when at the end of the song, he reached over and pulled a part of her dress, and it exposed her entire boob and a nipple shield. So I didn't even know what that was at the time.
It was more like a fancy ring. Like it was like a fancy nipple ring.
Yeah,
It was
exactly.
Like it looked like a sun. Do you remember? It was
Yeah.
like pierced. It was like a sun around it.
And all, of course.
I remember wanting one.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's a cute one.
Yeah. Now, I know Case, being too young, only 24 years old, you did not see this live unless you have a 4-year-old memory.
No, that's what I was going to say is I'm obviously aware of the incident, but I didn't watch it live. And I have a question that is not, I mean it purely in an educational sense. It's not a sexual
boy.
question.
Kenzie, you can take this one.
What?
I don't, so was it full, like, how much boob was there?
It's all
He
out.
ripped, it was
Yeah.
her whole boob, but she had a really in-depth nipple ring on. So like around the whole nipple was like like an iron star, and then it pierced through. So some people were like, is that a little cover or what is that? But it was literally the exact cutout of her boobs. So if you look at the outfit, it was almost like a harness surrounding them. So it was just a single one, but it like popped out.
surrounding 'em.
Yeah, they kind of look like my breastfeeding bra a little bit when you pop up in the middle there. So very, very crazy. And you want to know what's funny? So Case, you were 4.
Yeah.
Okay, so then I was 8 because I'm 4 years older than you, and
I
I
was
did
10.
watch it. Shut up. Brian was the video guy.
Yeah, I helped her get her dress on. I was working the Super Bowl
Yeah,
that
of
year.
course.
You're known for your work as a seamstress.
Oh, it's a whole side hustle I can't get into right now.
It was the whole thing. A lot of NDAs were signed. It's all but so I did watch it live, and I really didn't understand. Like, I don't, as a kid, like, you don't sexualize anything, right? So I just didn't get, like, what the big deal was, because I thought it went to the beat of the song. Like, I'm having to by the end of the song rip. I'm like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was bad.
Flop.
I'm like, this is really good choreography. I understand.
Yeah.
But
Nailed it.
what I remember even more vividly, because in that moment I was like, everyone froze and was like, wait, did that just was it covered? Was that fake? Everyone had like, I remember my parents looking at each other because all their kids are watching the Super Bowl with them. And they're like, what just happened? But the memes that were recreated, and this is where memes and gifs were a big deal. It was Mrs. Piggy getting it ripped off. Do you remember that,
God,
Brian?
I don't remember that. I don't
One
remember.
of the biggest memes that went around was Kermit ripping Mrs. Piggy's thing off, and they were both in like the same outfits.
Oh my
and
God.
I saw that so many times. So when I think of the incident, the first thing I think of is Mrs. Piggy. That's what sticks out to my 8-year-old mind.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
See,
it
now
was
for
crazy.
me, being a little older and watching it in real time, you know, it's on YouTube, Case. I don't know if we should post it on our Facebook page or not.
I'm not going to
Probably
post
not.
Janet
Probably
Jackson's
not.
nipple on our Facebook page.
But it looked like Janet Jackson, obviously, what a performer that she is. She made a move that made it look like it was planned. Like it came out and she kind of went like this, a head turn and put her hand up there, and it was a dance move almost at the end. And Justin Timberlake froze. And now, my understanding is that she did not know how that was going to play out. Obviously,
The understanding is supposed to be that we don't know because they had their own separate meeting that people weren't part of and it wasn't filmed. So there's theories that they knew, didn't know, whatever. But that there was a wardrobe malfunction. Like something was supposed to rip off, but it wasn't supposed to expose the breast is kind of the vibe. Like it was just supposed to be like the initial top part, right? Like for added effect. And then some people argue, well, then why was she wearing something so decorative, like the star nipple piercing, right? What are the odds of that?
In case something
She's
happened.
fun, that's why.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I'm like, girls have like tons of cute piercings all the time. Like she's on her A game. She's at the Super Bowl. You want to make sure everything looks good. And you do make sure everything looks good in case things like that happens. Because look how awesome it looks now.
Well, it did look
What
awesome.
if she didn't come prepared?
I can tell you that going back to that time you're talking about with gifts, another thing that was very popular at that time because you couldn't just stop your TV, TiVo. So TiVo was how you paused your TV and rewound it. Now, of course, you can do everything in time shifting. I had a TiVo at the time. TiVo, you used to put your phone line into the TiVo box so it could download the schedules of what you were going to look for and search for. They also pulled information about what you were watching. They found out that at that time, TiVo was around, I think, for about 10 years at that point. It was the most TiVo'd moment by rewinding
Oh, really?
in history. And I don't know how they can do those stats now, but at that time in 2009 or 2004, that it was the most rewound thing in history.
Oh, what a unique honor.
How about that stat? There's a stat you're not
I
getting
don't think
anywhere
she
else.
feels good about that. I think it's a dark time for her because people really attacked her. People forget this and I understand that it was her boob, but it takes two to tango, okay? And people were not critical of Justin Timberlake, and they were really critical of her, and
Yeah.
it sucked. Like, they were really, really mean to her and not to Justin Timberlake.
And you're talking about the backlash that happened at that
She
time
had
also.
so much, and she's a really sweet person. She's not built like, she's not gritty and mean. Like, you know how like some people are just back in your face, I don't really care. She's actually like a really sweet, soft-spoken person, and like I don't think she expected what happened. And this is pre-social media. People are used to getting blown up on social media now and stuff, right?
Can you imagine?
It was hard in a way getting blown up back then because there wasn't that, right? So this was crazy to get like so much attention and so attacked.
Hillary just texted, and I have that game on VHS tape from her
What
VCR.
a collector's item.
It is. I bet that would go for some money.
But at the time, you're talking about the backlash, and the backlash came also that affected everything else after that. Whereas I think at that time, the FCC, which reports, infractions in media, swear words, whatever, they used to get, I don't know, like a couple hundred complaints a year. Because the internet is still pretty young then, and people being able to call on the phone to make a complaint probably didn't happen very often. After that, they've got, I believe the number was somewhere in the 470,000 range of complaints from a couple hundred they used to get. And that just over-exploded to Kenzie's point of like everybody sitting there going, what just happened? There was a boob on TV and Super Bowl halftime show, the most watched show every year in the world.
You know what's crazy though is I feel like you could almost wear an outfit similar to that now.
Oh, you could wear less.
Like that's what I mean. Like it wasn't horrible, especially because she had something so decorative. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, when it happened, you weren't 100% sure, right?
Right.
Like, can you agree with that, Brian? Were you 100% positive of what you just saw? It was really quick.
Honestly, I thought I saw a boob. But
You did?
I did, but I didn't see the nipple ring you're talking about, the decorative piece, until people zoomed in on the internet back then and then forwarded that part of it. And I just had to see what it was. I didn't look at it very long.
No.
I just looked at it to see what it was.
But it's a little bit like the Howard Dean audio that we played a few weeks ago when we were celebrating 20 years of that, where, I think if somebody exposed their boob on the Super Bowl now, it would make them more popular. I think people would be way more into it.
Don't
Well,
they really?
they'd probably be like, you're empowered or something like that. Yeah.
you go, woman. Go on there, you can do it.
It's great. It's so different,
And also what Kenzie was talking about, like we still don't know, it's clouded in mystery, who was in and who wasn't. Well, in the Eagles Super Bowl, 2018, 2019, Justin Timberlake performed solo. And all I could think was Janet Jackson's going to come out at some point and join them. That's going to be a
Fully
big
clothed.
surprise.
She's going to come out in a turtleneck.
Something. And I remember being stunned that by the time it ended and it was just over, that Janet Jackson didn't come out and collab with them on that Super Bowl halftime show 5 years ago. I couldn't believe it because I thought...
I was really bummed about that. I think
too.
that would have been a good opportunity. And I believe she's like banned from it or something like that, which is crazy because how is Justin Timberlake allowed to come back and perform?
Yeah.
And you don't even want Janet Jackson there. That's what's weird about it. If they kept firm and they were like, we don't want Janet, we don't want Justin, we were unhappy about that, I'd go, okay. But like, I felt like it was really biased, which kind of sucked.
So I just Googled that real quick. Janet Jackson denied she's been banned from the Super Bowl, but that's just her saying that. It's not...
She hasn't spoken much on it
No,
at all.
no.
Ever. There's a really good docuseries on it. Have you guys seen that?
No, I don't think so.
There's a really interesting breakdown of it, and you do still watch it like, I don't know 100% what happened. I do feel bad, though, because people get really mad at Justin Timberlake, and you can't help the fact that the world decided to give backlash to Janet and not to him. You know what I mean? Like, that's other people.
Right.
And he reached out to her a bunch of times. Was like, do you want me to speak on this? Do you want me to? She's like, leave it alone. Leave it alone. I don't want any more attention. So he did reach out to her via this docuseries that she was in. And he said multiple times, do you want me to speak on it? You're not a bad person. This is ridiculous. So I felt bad for him because a lot of people hate him. Like, you let that happen to her. And he was actually reaching out and asking her, too, which was interesting.
Yeah, they must have liked each other in general, and it's just something that happened that was out of control. And it changed everything. Like I said, for us on the radio, I remember having meetings that week and giving a little inside thing on it, saying the FCC's on alert now for everything. So you have to stop being basically edgy. And we had to, like, if we aired something with a bleep in it, and it had the F word in it. And we used to sometimes just bleep a little bit so you can hear like the F and the K a little bit. They said, from now, bleep the whole word from now on. Everybody was on guard because all of a sudden people discovered the FCC and how to complain. And it was a Wild West. It was unbelievable that event changed so much at that time.
Now you got to bleep more of the F word because somebody had a boob. Like, what?
What's the connection there?
It's so weird.
What is that? Just like how you have a boss and they do things, they overreact. That's kind of what everybody did. They overreacted to that event because it was the first time ever. And like Kenzie
I'm
just
not
said,
saying it's good. I'm not saying everybody should just have their boobs out at the Super Bowl. That's not what I'm saying.
That's what
but
I heard you saying.
that's what I heard you say.
Yeah.
That's what I heard you say. Empowering women.
Oh, God.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101 just talking about the 20-year anniversary of Nipplegate, Janet Jackson halftime show with Justin Timberlake. And a lot of people checking in on that. Can't believe it was 20 years ago. That's what's going on with 2004. There's all this wild stuff and we'll hit up all year long because it just keeps giving. And also, Katie checked in and said, didn't know that phrase wardrobe malfunction. And I can say I never heard that phrase before that Super Bowl after that. And then now it's used all the time.
So the phrase wardrobe malfunction came from this incident.
Yep.
That's so interesting because I've just had that in my life the entire time.
You had wardrobe malfunction in your life.
I've had a lifetime of
Yep.
wardrobe malfunction.
I would not have it if it wasn't for that incident, the Janet Jackson halftime of the Super Bowl.
Well, I'm glad it happened then. I'm forever thankful for a new term.
You're glad it happened?
I'm just saying, now we have wardrobe malfunction. What a great terminology.
Because it's so useful in daily
What
life.
has Janet not done for us?
I know,
Right.
that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Coming
She's
up,
a sweet angel.
since we're talking about Justin Timberlake a little bit there in that halftime show, a lot of new concerts announced this week to get you up to date on what's going on, more so in the summer, but some huge news that we'll get to here coming up at 8:55.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.
Brian and Kenzie on Q101. And a lot of shows every week, every day, pretty much right now. Things get announced. And we know about all the big ones of the summer, of course, Green Day and Smashing Pumpkins at Wrigley Field, Metallica coming to Soldier Field. A lot of rumors about Pearl Jam coming Memorial Day weekend. Or it's Labor Day weekend.
Labor Day weekend.
I always get those messed up.
Once we know something, we'll be more than happy to say the Pearl Jam news, but we can't get to the bottom of it.
No. I mean, even the biggest Pearl Jam, hounds in the building, Dan Purcell, his favorite band, and he's still at this point snooping around, even though stuff gets out there on Reddit and the internet, but it's not guaranteed, and we are firm on our information. When we give it to you, you'll know it's real. Like some of these shows coming up. Case, what do you got?
Absolutely. So all of these shows were announced yesterday, which is why we're talking about them today. All of them, the general on sale is Friday at 10 a.m.
Okay.
The big one here, Saturday, May 11th, coming to the Salt Shed, is Portugal the Man. Our friends from Twisted Christmas and Picnic and Lala and Riot Fest, they have been around, and this is their first time at the Shed.
Salt Shed has become that destination spot for a lot of bands. We've talked to, we're going to talk to Gavin Rossdale of Bush the next couple days.
That's right.
When they played last year, our show, and they always talk positively about this brand new venue that was worked on for so long, and we put the first show there pretty much, Q101 did, and now it's a destination spot, and it's just right by the highway. It's become that spot to go see a show, even if you just kind of like the band.
I would like to know how many of our crew members have been to the Salt Shed and how many want to go but still haven't, because to your point, there are bands that could play a bigger venue that are choosing to play the Salt Shed because it has all of the buzz in Chicago music right now.
You know what it reminds me of?
What's that?
It's kind of like what Joe's on Weed is for country.
Yeah, good pull.
Salt Shed's becoming very that for like alternative, rock, like rock artists in general.
Yeah.
I would say some indie a little bit too.
For
like
sure.
in
Yeah.
that.
Absolutely. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, so that is Saturday, May 11th, Portugal the Man at the Salt Shed. That pre-sale starts tomorrow at 10 a.m., but general on sale is Friday. Big one, Friday, June 21st. Our favorite band, I think, collectively as a show. This is the band that the three of us are super into. Chicago's own Bridget Calls Me Baby. They just announced a new show at Lincoln Hall.
And if you remember what they sound like from Q101's Twisted Christmas, here's another reminder. Just a unique sound from this Chicago band, Bridget Calls Me Baby. And so cool. What a performance. What a conversation with them. And Case has on a Case 4 an interview with them as well on our Brian and Kenzie podcast feed there.
Yeah, and our YouTube channel. Yeah, I mean, look, I love new music. I love new bands. They're my favorite new band. I say that in all honesty. I just think they are fantastic. So they're playing Schubas at the beginning of March. That show sold out. the afternoon it was put on sale. They're playing Lincoln Hall Friday, June 21st. That's a little bit bigger venue, and those tickets go on sale Friday at 10 a.m. So if you want to see them, do not miss out. Act quick.
See them in the smaller venues before they get too big and they're only in the bigger venues.
At some point, they'll headline the Aragon instead of opening. I mean, I really, really believe that.
I see 7 shows at the United Center in their future.
Oh, like a little Harry Styles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A residency.
A residency.
And then finally, speaking of bands that have played Q101 events in the past, Incubus, who headlined Picnic last year, they are back in Chicago this summer. Saturday, August 24th, they are going to the Allstate Arena in Rosemont, and they are playing Morning View in its entirety, plus other hits.
This has been the joy of bands touring this year. We talked a little bit about, the past or 20 years ago or 10 years ago. It seems like more bands than ever are doing album plays. Like, for example, Green Day at Wrigley Field is going to do Dookie and American Idiot in its entirety, and Kenzie's tried to do the math
so
on that.
crazy.
Kenzie cannot figure out the math how it's going to happen. I mean, the show's
Well,
going
if they were the only ones there, it would work.
Yeah.
But it's a pretty big show.
Three other bands, 4 bands total.
You got
The big ones.
Smashing Pumpkins, which we're trying to convince them to do Siamese Dream. Rancid, I would love to do an Out Come the Wolves if they're playing, and then the Linda Lindas.
Donna's is fun, though.
I said the Donna Donnas.
Where's the Linda Lindas?
The Linda Lindas. So it's Kenzie's math. Who's
You start saying everything twice. The Smashing is going to play.
Kenzie's the smartest one in the room, and her math has that show starting at 10 a.m.
Yes.
To get all the
We're going
bands
to miss
in.
part of it because of the show.
There's no way. But for Incubus to do Morning View for me again, oh my God, all in a row. I mean, Nice to Know You, Wish You Were Here, Warning, those 3 songs. But I love the album plays because most people who have a favorite band say, they just never play this one I want off the album. That's the one I want to hear. And then they do it. So many bands doing the album plays. It's really cool.
Yeah, that's a ton of fun. So it's going to be Incubus and Coheed and Cambria, which I think is I think it's a fascinating 1-2 punch.
Wow.
So they're at Allstate. Like I said, that's going to be this summer in August. Pre-sale started yesterday, but that is one of those shows. There's a million different pre-sale options between the fan club and what credit card you have. So if you're super into Incubus, check your email. You probably have a pre-sale code. And if not, general on sale again Friday at 10 a.m.
Of course, a great veteran of Q101's Picnic last summer. So
Crushed it.
Go check it out. Q101.com with all the info.
The Q101 Morning Crew.
On Q101.